Becky, so great to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. How are
Uh,
you?
Good. Congratulations on Heaven on My Mind, straight into the charts. What does it feel like going straight into the top 40?
Yeah, it's a big moment for me because I think, with every single that I've released, it's just got better and better and bigger and more successful. So it's really nice to be able to release a solo record of my own and have chart success.
So is charts, I can't even say, is chart success still important to you? Because I mean, I was on YouTube this morning and all your videos are in the millions. Like, this song has only been out a couple of weeks and there's already 3.5 million views and counting. What's more important to you, the YouTube hits or the chart? Are the charts still something special?
Um, the numbers and figures online don't really mean anything to me. I think one of the facts last year was that I was the second most streamed female in the UK.
Wow.
But really, I actually felt like nobody really knew who I was. So even though I was the second most streamed female, I still felt like when you said my name to people, they still didn't know who I was. So for me, actually, it's more public perception that is probably more important to me, and charts to know that, you're doing something right.
So this one's quite special then. And is it quite special? Because I know the music you write is all quite personal, but this one is really personal. And I was listening to it going, how did Becky manage to write such a feel-good, upbeat song about such a really difficult time in your life?
Yeah, Heaven actually came to me pretty much written, which has never really happened before, only apart from another song that I've done called Rude Love, and that was when I was independently releasing on my own record label. So this song is kind of one of the first times that I've actually taken an outside song. So it was in a pretty much completed form when Sigala sent it over to me. And from there, I wanted to switch up the verses. So me and Emanike, rewrote the verses, and we wrote that little crowd vocal that you hear at the end. So yeah, it was nice for me because it was such a song that it was a song I would never have written last year. So it was really nice to actually be able to take myself out of my own situation and go, oh, this is a great song that I probably wouldn't have written. I would love to take this song. So yeah, it is still very personal to me though. So yeah.
And then you throw it out there on TikTok, and there's a footwork, is that the right word? A footwork challenge going on where people have this really insane dance thing that they need to do with their feet. What is that like? And can you do that TikTok challenge? Because I tried and I sort of gave up after the first couple of steps.
Yeah, no, I can't do TikTok dances, can't do TikTok challenges. And if I had it my way, I would never look at TikTok, and it would never be invented. But here we are.
Why is that? Why do you feel that way about TikTok?
Probably because when I was a teenager, I wasn't really doing TikTok dances. I was getting drunk in a field somewhere with my friends, which I feel like, times have massively changed since then. And also, I'm not one of these people that enjoys putting myself out on social media. I enjoy writing music, I enjoy performing. But I've always felt like it's quite a nasty environment, social media generally. And I think I've always felt like a bit nervous to put myself forward into that environment.
Is it amazing though to use social media in a positive way where you get your fans sending you covers of your own work? What is it like listening back to your work being covered by others?
Yeah, great. It's really nice that people resonate with music generally, especially music that I've created. So it feels really lovely that other people are taking my work and, putting their own spin on it.
You were mentioning you really enjoy performing live, and a couple of years ago you said, I still feel quite awkward on stage. I feel like an awkward sack of potatoes. Have you moved on from that feeling?
No. Still feel like an awkward sack of potatoes.
But what do you love about it then? Like, what keeps you going?
Um, well, probably because I'm really shit at anything else apart from this. And probably wouldn't make money any other way other than what I do. I've just always loved music. I've always loved writing songs since I was 13. I've always loved playing instruments. Um, and I've felt very, very blessed and very lucky that I've been able to do what I've done and do it to a level that I can, have a lovely flat or, be so, live in London and feel really comfortable and stuff like that. So I've felt super blessed doing what I do. And I don't think I don't think there's any other feeling than being on stage and having people sing back the lyrics. So, yeah.
I've been talking to a lot of artists and I've been saying to them, what do you miss most during lockdown? And their response isn't from an egotistical point of view, but their response is, I really miss the sound of a crowd, the energy of a crowd. Is that something you're missing right now as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I generally find that if I go from, I find that if I don't write for so long, I'll get writing withdrawals. And if I don't perform for too long, I'll get performance withdrawals. Because I love being in the studio, I love writing music, but I also love the adrenaline of getting all dressed up and, heading out onto the stage with my band, who are all amazing as well. So yeah, I don't think there's anything quite like that.
The first time we saw you take to the stage was on The Voice UK, and that can be such a great breaking ground for artists. But you got to experience everything. What was the reality like? Once you finished on that, did you think you'd end up back at home rather than actually starting your music career?
My experience with The Voice was probably unlike anybody else's, and probably still is. I had no expectations going on to that show. I'd had no idea I'd even make it to the live shows. I had no idea I was going to make it to the semi-finals, and every second of that was, I just felt lucky to be there. I just turned 18. I was 17 and turned 18 on the show. I was getting paid 500 quid a week by the show. I was living in this flat that was paid for by the show. I'd never been to London before, let alone being on television. So for me, and then by the time I was in the final 8, I was the only one who went to the public audition. Everybody else had been asked by the producers. So for me, my expectations were managed.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be something that I was going to do well at. And when I came off the show, I had no problem with going back to bar work. I had no problem with funding myself. But I felt like everybody else had changed. I suddenly felt like people were coming in, ordering a drink from me after I'd just been on The Voice and going, oh, things aren't going very well then. So for me, I was just going along and doing what I was hoping was the best. And, I really grafted after that show to make sure that I found a lawyer and make sure that I found a manager. Which I think a lot of people feel like is a bit too hard work when you have to go around knocking on doors. And I just didn't have that mindset at the time.
But you know what? It is all about hard work if you're going to make it, and passion. And you put yourself back in London, which can be such a lonely position, but it's all about finding your tribe. And you found a great tribe. You lift each other up. How did you find your tribe? Because sometimes that's the hardest bit.
Yeah, it probably took me about 18 months of being desperately lonely, and having no friends down here and not really knowing anything about the city. And then I had my first writing session with Emanike, and he was 17, I was 18. And on our first ever session, we wrote my first single, which got me my first record deal,
Wow.
Which then sparked off a whole a whole range of music that I made with him and still make with him. And through Emanike, I managed to find all these beautiful people, such as Brian Ashley, who is now, you know, I call him executive of vocals in my job, and he looks after everything that I do in terms of voice. Um, you know, and we really found a little crew. A little crew came together quite quickly down here, and I was so grateful because I thought I was going to be a Billy No Mates for an extended period of time.
Before I let you go, there's so much more I want to talk to you about, but I need to talk to you about the Art of Rave podcast. I'm
Yes.
so excited. I only discovered it last night and I'm so excited by it. Tell me what made you start it and what made you go back to the legends of rave.
So I was on tour with Pete Tong at the time, doing the Ibiza Classics show with the Heritage Orchestra and Jules Buckley. And what I loved about that show was not only its kind of enormousness. That show is one of the biggest shows I've ever been a part of, but what it brought for other people. You know, I was noticing a whole range of ages in the crowd, going from, you know, younger than me all the way up to their 60s. You know, and what I saw was that it brought back a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people. And I really enjoyed being a part of that nostalgia on that tour. And I just kind of wondered, like, I've done my fair share of raving, and I still have quite a bit more to do once all of this eases up. But what I loved about that was that I felt like I'd missed some sort of golden era of rave. I felt like, you know, when people would speak to me about the 90s raves with the drugs and the music and the atmosphere and no phones, you know, people now are just recording raves, you know, and I didn't know whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. And I thought who better to ask than these incredible people like DJ Zink and Andy C and Ronnie Size and Pete Tong. You know, it's such an incredible people, knowledge of a whole knowledge of people in there. So I've been super blessed to be able to speak to some incredible people.
Well, I'm thrilled that you've put that together. I'm thrilled that you're releasing new music. Hopefully when this is all over, we can actually chat in person and talk about more new stuff.
I hope so.
Becky, it was such a pleasure. Thank you so much and enjoy all of this.
No, thank you so much. That was such a lovely interview to kick the day off. So thank you very, very much.